Welcome, friends. Today we have a very special guest. She's a woman of substance. She is Vicki Saunders, founder of SheEO, and she's built a great community that works on the concept of radical generosity. Now, what is radical generosity? It is a movement, a small step, and just an idea that can change the world. SheEO makes sure that indigenous women are lifted, women of color are lifted, and people from different gender are lifted. Let's hear it from Vicki Saunders. Welcome, Vicki. Thanks for being on Bay Street Diary.
Well, I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
So tell us, what is SheEO and what are its main objectives?
SheEO is an ecosystem-based support for women entrepreneurs. It's a really new kind of model. We have hundreds of women in each country who come together and contribute capital into a shared pool of funds, and then we loan that money out at 0% interest to women entrepreneurs who are working on the world's to-do list, which is the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And not only do they get these 0% interest loans from hundreds of women, but then they get access to all of our networks and expertise in order to grow their businesses. And we are now doing this in 5 countries. It all started in Canada.
Well, a great organization and a beautiful way to promote and celebrate women innovators. Moreover, hats off to the radical, generous activators who believed in your idea to transform the system.
Thank you. Yes, this was a very big deal getting this started in Canada. We had over 500 women in our first year contribute $1,000 each to create this pool of capital and loan it out. And now, 5 years later, we've funded 68 ventures in 4 countries around the world, and we just launched into our 5th country.
Beautiful. So, Vicki, as for the pitch book, venture capital investments in all female founding teams in the year 2019 were less than 3% of the capital invested across the entire US startup ecosystem. Why do you think it is so difficult for female entrepreneurs to raise support and funds for their ventures?
So more than 90% of VC investors are men, and they're looking for pattern recognition of the kinds of things that they experience in the world. And this is a really big problem. I mean, if you look at almost every single sector, women are dramatically underrepresented. And it's statistically impossible for this to occur. 51% of the population getting 2.2% of the capital globally without major systemic inequalities and biases built in. This has been a problem forever. It's not going away because this is what our systems are designed for. And so you have to actually transform systems in order to change these numbers. And so that's why we've come up with a completely different approach to funding women, as opposed to just creating a VC fund for women with the same rules. We're creating new rules so we get different results.
Absolutely. I think there needs to be an end to certain stereotypes that are prevailing, like men take more risks than women, they are more growth oriented, they run their businesses better. But are any of these myths true? I don't agree to it.
None of them are. I agree with you, Neetu. Not at all. I mean, these are just old narratives that are no longer true that we need to update in our brains. And so this concept of women not being risk takers is completely crazy. So I think it's a story update that we need to do. And there are just thousands of examples around us every single day of how women are out there creating amazing solutions to major challenges we're facing. And we just need to tell more of those stories. So thank you for having me here, because I get to do some of that.
Oh, you're welcome. Also, Vicki, every industry is facing new economic challenges today due to the current COVID-19 situation. What do you think should be the approach for talented women entrepreneurs and business owners to sustain their ventures in this difficult time?
Well, I think this is actually an incredible moment to be a woman entrepreneur. We tend to have different outlooks on the world. I think it's a competitive advantage. Every, major business, all of our structures haven't been designed by women. And a lot of them are failing. We have a lot of problems across most of our sectors. And so there's a chance to actually reinvent and create more inclusive workplaces, harassment-free, that are zero carbon, that are very careful about what they do with waste, and designing in completely new approaches. So this is a huge opportunity for women to step in with their approach to how they would like to design the world. That's one part. And then during COVID, it's been phenomenal in our SheEO network because of the way that we're designed, where we have hundreds of women in each country, in some countries, thousands of women who are here to help one another. When COVID crisis hit, We had an all hands on who needs help as the ventures, what are the supports that they need, and we started to do weekly calls. And so now we come on calls every single week on Zoom like this, and we ask each other for the things that we need, and we're supporting each other in this incredible spirit of reciprocity and radical generosity. And it's made a world of difference. I think we're really conditioned and taught to think we don't have enough and that we're living in scarcity. And in our model, the way it's designed at SheEO, it starts with abundance. You literally get on a call and you say, does anyone have a connection to X? And someone says, oh, I do. I'll make the introduction. Yeah. And it really starts with, how can I help you? It's a completely different vibe than a normal sort of business network.
Well, some words of wisdom. So, Vicki, inadequate support system, limited funding, balancing responsibilities, unfavorable business environment, and gender inequality are just few of the numerous challenges that women entrepreneurs face continuously while trying to succeed in their ventures. And we are already in the 21st century. What needs to be done on an individual front for every woman to have equal rights in this ecosystem largely favoring men today?
Well, there's a lot that needs to be done. I think the first thing is we need to really decondition ourselves about the kind of world that we're living in. We've got an economic model that's actually bad for humanity and for the planet. And we need to rethink what we value in the world. And we need to really look at what kind of society do we want to create? One that includes everyone, that's more equal, that cares for people and the earth at the same time. So this environmental and social governance models that are starting to emerge in our investment community is great. And there's a lot more that needs to be done. And, we have just had a massive bias about what women can do in the world that just needs to get updated. It's like an old bit in our brains that we need to just do the upgrade and really start to recognize that we cannot create a beautiful life-sustaining society with 50% of the population never able to reach their potential. It's crazy. And so on top of that, we're starting to see governments look at childcare as being an incredibly important component. We literally deny that women have babies and have other responsibilities that they need to take care of in the business environment. We're like, leave that at home. We're now at work. And we need to be able to bring our whole selves into every part of our lives. So this is just a rethinking on what it means to be human and be in relationship together and in business in the world. And we need a new story. It's almost like we're between worlds. This old model is dying out. We see it every day in front of us, all the problems that we have with our existing models. And we need to rethink and create a new one. So there's a lot of unraveling of this is the only way we can do it to what if we can do it differently. And so we need some experimentation and some new approaches. And we're one example at SheEO of how you can radically transform an ecosystem to support women entrepreneurs and get better results for less money. For example, last year, we created 276 jobs across 28 companies in our ventures. They're early stage ventures. And imagine that sort of scaled out. Small businesses creating tons of jobs. It's just, we keep looking to the giant corporations who, get these big handouts of here's $20 million to you to create 1,200 jobs. Small businesses are creating these every single day. So we need to rethink our policies in government. We need to update our stories. And we need to get imaginative and experimental about what a new world could look like.
Sure, the overall objective of gender equality is a society in which women and men enjoy equal opportunities, rights, and obligations in all spheres of life. And your organization is doing a wonderful job on this front.
Thank you.
Lastly, Vicki, what advice do you have for millions of women who have suppressed and walked over their dreams to support and build their families' ambitions?
I think if you're a woman out there today who has a dream inside of you that you want to bring out, or if you're inspired by the dreams of others, what I would really encourage you to do is to get in a community like SheEO or others that you see around you. Get in relationship with each other. Together, we can do absolutely anything. On our own and isolated, it's much harder. And I don't know about you, but those voices in your head that go, oh, maybe my idea is not needed. Maybe it's not good enough. Like all of the things that we talk ourselves out of goes away. And so at SheEO, we're really excited about people's ideas. We would love to help you bring that idea out and share our resources to make things happen. So I would just encourage anyone who's at home alone, thinking of, well, everyone's at home alone these days, but I would encourage you to get into communities with other women or men and look for people who lift you up, who want to support you. It is so hard to be an entrepreneur on your own. And so when you get into a community, you can see that you have all these other people around you who want to support you. And
Sure.
that's what we've really learned at SheEO. It's important to do things together in community as opposed to on your own, isolated. It's so much harder that way.
Well, thank you, Vicki, for being on our show and taking these big steps towards empowering women, not just in Canada, but across the globe.
Thank you.
Bay Street Diary is helping entrepreneurs and businesses achieve their dreams. If you need professional or expert advice to fulfill your business targets, do not hesitate to write to me at neetu@baystreetdiary.com. Follow Bay Street Diary, subscribe to our YouTube channel, listen to our podcast. I'll see you very soon. Till then, keep spreading love.